Former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley did everything in her power to slow down former President Donald Trump, and yet she still could not overcome Trump in the race to the United States presidency. She raised concerns about his age, his mental state, his capacity for leadership when faced with 91 criminal charges. Basically, she threw everything at Trump hoping something would stick, but nothing did. So finally she quit. Haley officially announced the suspension of her campaign, clearing the way for Trump to receive the Republican primary nomination. She couldn't prevent Super Tuesday from becoming a blowout, with Trump cleaning up in red states like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, the blue states, California, and potentially emerging or re-emerging battlegrounds like Virginia, North Carolina, and Minnesota. In Trump's words, Haley got trounced in record-setting fashion. So yeah, guys, it looks like a Trump win has definitely been assured among Republicans. Even Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has fallen in line, saying that Trump will have his support. This as he announced that he will be stepping down from his leadership post in November, meaning that if Trump wins the presidential election, as he currently seems favored to do so, he'll have a Senate Republican leader in place more ready to work with him. The latest polls show Trump holding the lead against Biden. So does this mean Trump 2024 is assured? Well, let's find out in today's video. You guys ready? Let's go ahead and dive right in. So here's the latest breakdown of the Trump-Haley dynamic and Trump saying how Haley was trounced on Super Tuesday. Check this out.
Trump took to Truth Social, reacting to news reports of her forthcoming exit, and talked about how she got quote-unquote trounced in quote-unquote record-setting fashion on Super Tuesday, really kind of rubbing in her poor electoral performance in her face. Haley has won 2 contests in the 2024 cycle, Vermont and Washington, D.C. Trump has won everything else that he's competed in. When Haley dropped out, she stopped short of giving him a full-throated endorsement, joining the likes of Chris Christie and Mike Pence, who have also declined to do so. And this kind of really illustrates the animosity that has grown between Trump and Nikki Haley, who was previously his U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Trump had been furious with Haley for staying in the race, but interestingly, in his Truth Social post, he was almost reminiscing on the competition that he once had. He said, quote, "At this point, I hope she stays in the race and fights it out until the end."
Now, honestly, guys, I'm just surprised Trump didn't just take the opportunity to say that he trumped Haley. That would have been so classic, right? But yeah, guys, in yet another win for the former president, Haley has bowed out of the race. Now, according to Nikki Haley, it is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and those beyond it to support him. And true enough, pretty much at the same time she was speaking, Trump invited Haley supporters to join his campaign. You guys familiar with RINOs, right? It really means Republicans in name only. Throughout the race, Trump condemned Haley as a bird brain and a Republican in name only, or RINO. In his celebratory Truth Social post, Trump pointed out how much of Haley's money came from the radical left Democrats, as did many of her voters. Basically, analysts are now saying that Haley's long shot bid reflects just how ironclad Trump's hold over the party has become. And it looks like it's RINO hunting season now, with more Republicans siding with Trump after the Haley withdrawal. His supporters say that Trump didn't even have to go over to the RINOs. Trump stayed right where he is, and the RINOs are now coming to Trump. For them, it's about time that they joined America first. You know what I mean? Some say Trump was born for such a time like this, and he's the best president ever. Do you guys agree? Drop a yes in the comment section down below if you do. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit the thumbs up for the video and subscribe to the channel. I want to also thank you guys so much for sharing this video. You guys are awesome. And the truth right now is that Nikki Haley's exit from the Republican race definitely marks a GOP shift to what analysts are calling the America First movement. Even as she announced her exit from the U.S. presidential race, Haley spoke of the need to help Ukraine defend itself against Russian aggression, saying that if we retreat further, there will be more war, not less. So Nikki Haley's been all about pushing Washington to take charge on the global stage, but Republican constituents aren't exactly jumping on board. This we saw on Super Tuesday when she lost 14 out of the 15 contested state primaries to former President Donald Trump, who gained more than 70% of the vote in 9 of the states. Ever since the spectacular failure of nation-building exercises in the Middle East under former President George W. Bush and the neoconservatives who dominated his administration, the U.S. conservatives have been debating over what to do next. Some, like Haley, have called for a return to the peace through strength strategy of former President Ronald Reagan. Others are more supportive of Trump's idea that America first, meaning foreign intervention, should be more limited to issues that clearly advance U.S. interests. And Haley quitting her campaign? It's a big flashlight sign that Trump's team's vision has won the debate for now. As pointed out by Mark Lauder, chief communications officer of the America First Policy Institute, there needs to be a clear-cut, well-defined reason for America's interest in foreign engagements, be it Ukraine, Gaza, North Korea, or Taiwan. He and his organization point out the very crucial question: why is the United States taxpayer footing the bill? I mean, we are literally putting in as much money as the rest of the world combined for a European conflict. The burden is falling way too much on the American taxpayers as the rest of the world is not shouldering its load. And what's the end result? Not very good for your average working class American. Instead, the America First Policy Institute wants U.S. foreign intervention like the January 2020 assassination of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani as an ideal form of military use. A quick surgical attack by an American drone strike near Baghdad International Airport in Iraq in which no American soldiers were hurt. Really? No messing about. Just get in, get it done, and get out. Morgan Vina, a former chief of staff to Haley at the UN, said, though, there's still a strong support base for traditional conservative principles, such as fiscal discipline, limited government, and a strong national security based on peace through strength. These are the core Reagan principles that Nikki Haley truly embodies. I mean, Nikki Haley was able to garner 30% of the votes in the primaries across the country. But as we saw, it was difficult for Haley to win through the primary process without addressing the concerns of Trump's followers. So yes, it definitely looks like America First is the name of the game right now. It's not just a fringe idea anymore. As said by Matt Bennett, Executive Vice President of Public Affairs at centrist Democratic think tank Third Way, without question, America First is now the mainstream path in Republican foreign policy. Now, what's probably going to be different this time around, at least according to Trump analysts, is that Trump will fill the key cabinet positions with his loyal supporters. In his first term between 2017 and 2021, he had people at the State Department and the Defense Department that were not isolationists. They were cut from the more traditional Republican cloth. This time, he would have MAGA people in those jobs, make America great again and all that. What we're predicting is a merging of the two streams of transitional support programs. The America First movement and the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, which is readying a blueprint for each of the key government agencies under a conservative White House. And according to the experts, watching which names become floated over the coming months of which positions will probably be more determinative than Nikki Haley's performance in the primaries. You can definitely see Republican officials falling in line, no less than Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, for instance. He has previously slammed Trump over his actions on January 6th, but right after Super Tuesday, McConnell again offered his support to Trump despite their stormy personal relationship. Mitch McConnell said so himself. Trump will have his support. They said that even establishment Republicans who have qualms with Trump have to come to see him as a vessel to advance traditional conservative priorities. The Republican establishment has largely brought Trump on board with their main policy goals. During his first term, you didn't see the big realignment on trade that he promised. He cut taxes, pushed deregulation, and appointed conservative justices to the Supreme Court. Admittedly, there are still some of the party who still feel like they could be accomplishing more on the policy front without Trump looming over them, but those forces in the party have largely resigned themselves and realized they aren't able to replace him. I mean, a lot of people hate Mitch McConnell, but this is absolutely huge for Donald Trump and the Republican Party that he endorsed Trump. Right, guys? I mean, who remembers how the usually dour, somber Mitch McConnell actually showed his gleeful side during the aftermath of the January 6th riot? At the time, he basically said Donald Trump was finished. He said that he felt exhilarated by the fact that this fellow finally totally discredited himself. He put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger. That was a little bit more than 3 years ago. Today, Mitch McConnell surrendered to Trump. The Republican leader announced that he will step down from his leadership post in November, meaning that if Trump does win the presidential election, as he currently seems favored to do, he'll have a Senate Republican leader in place more ready to help work with him. Mitch McConnell's exit marks Trump's taking over the Senate, the one element of the GOP that still offered even a little resistance to the former president. Trump has all but clinched the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. The Republican National Committee may soon be controlled by one of his top campaign aides and his daughter-in-law. The Speaker of the House rose to prominence trying to find legal means to overturn Trump's 2020 defeat. Governors who once criticized him, such as Larry Hogan and Chris Sununu, have left or will soon leave the office. The public support from Mitch McConnell also came after his other top Republican senators endorsed Trump. John Thune, the number 2 Republican in the chamber who is running to replace Mitch McConnell, endorsed Trump earlier this month. Texas Senator John Cornyn, another possible Mitch McConnell successor, backed Trump after he won the New Hampshire primary. Thune, who has been vocal in the past about his concerns over how Trump will fare with suburban suburban voters, said that he believes that the Republican ticket will deliver a united message. He said that they'll go all out and all help aggressively win those people in the suburban areas, independent voters. It's a straight up one-on-one. And with the latest win against Haley, Trump seems to be leading in the polls with his one-on-one with Biden. A recent Quinnipiac poll found that of the Republicans who voted for Haley, only 37% said that they would cast their ballot for Biden if she dropped out. Nearly half, however, pledged to back Trump. As the experts analyzed, Trump is tremendously popular among Republican voters, more so now than when he ran in 2016, when he won most primaries without a majority of the vote. The election is still many months away, but with the two candidates now in effect decided, the campaign can begin in earnest. The next thing that we have to watch out for is on March 25th. That's when the first of Trump's 4 criminal trials begins in Manhattan. This one concerns hush money paid to a porn star before the 2016 election. Prosecutors allege that Trump falsified business records to conceal the payment. Trump denies any wrongdoing. Will this end up as another win for Trump like with Fani Willis and E. Jean Carroll? You can be sure that we'll be watching very closely. More on this and other news that matters to us in the coming updates. Don't miss it, you guys. Subscribe to the channel now and tap that notification bell. I'll see you guys on the next one.